This is the OTB Television Network, a service of Capital District Off-Track Betting.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the Handicappers Report alongside Seth Merrill. I am Anthony Mormino as we are fully entrenched in December, Seth, with the holiday weekend behind us. And I think it's fair to say from East Coast, West Coast, closing day at Churchill Downs on Saturday, a great day of racing in New York on Saturday, actually for the whole weekend. It didn't disappoint.
Yeah, and as I walked in, you were wrapping up taping this week's Horses and Courses, and you were a little out of breath after that because there was a lot of action from Thanksgiving Day on, and in fact, the night before, we had the Penn National races with Ben's Cat winning nicely. I got a replay of that coming up on Racing Across America because Ben's Cat's certainly a fan favorite, King Leatherberry.
Third choice in the wagering.
Yeah,
they got a price on Ben's Cat.
That was a very nice price on Ben's Cat.
The Maryland people must have been like, "This is great."
And I understand them tilting towards Rio Bobo, but not as strongly as they did. But so it kicked off Wednesday night, and it was a great weekend.
In wagering sometimes, where everyone, sort of thinks it's a jump ball, but when it comes to decision-making time, they seem, I think if it asked everybody who bet Rebo down to odds on, they would have said, yeah, I thought it was about a jump ball, but in that case, so many of them slanted one direction. But not only that, he was third choice in the wagering. So as I said, the Marylanders were like, how often do we almost get $10 on Ben's Cat, who was a nice victory? He made it a point. I must confess, I don't know if they've run this nice Wednesday night card at Penn National previously, or they have, Dan Silver is down there. I don't know if this is sort of something he's got going, etc. But it was a very nice kickoff. Yeah. I mean, they kind of had the landscape to themselves. They made the big push, and then you had the action in New York. We had the 2-year-olds down at Churchill Downs as they wrapped up their meet. Gulfstream Park, unfortunately, they had inclement weather, but they're underway now. They're calling it opening day was Saturday. Hollywood Park, Seth, for the first time, and I mean, I'm a big boy now. I mean, I understand the closing's coming, and we've been in this meet. We had a spring-summer meet. But yesterday afternoon, we ran the Matriarch and the Hollywood Derby, and that was the first time that recognizing they were running the last versions of those that I felt a little tinge. I mean, the fact that we ran the last Generous and the last Miesk, the last Vernon O. Underwood, that didn't resonate with me. But yesterday, watching the Hollywood Derby and the Matriarch, that was sort of like, ugh. Now, I do presume that there's going to be races in the Southern California calendar that are going to sort of fit the bill. I mean, you just sort of think that way, but...
although it's unlikely they will be called the Hollywood Derby.
No, and it's the same thing that happened at Santa Anita in the fall when Oak Tree took their toys and left the sandbox, and now we have the chandelier in the front rudder.
Still, though, as I think about it, though, there's still the Tropical Park Derby, so they could technically commemorate Hollywood Park, I suppose, by holding on to the name. But I find it unlikely.
I think there was I don't know, maybe shared ownership, or they used to share a meet. There was a sharing with Tropical Park and Calder. It was basically a good feel for it. Not so much Santa Anita, Oak Tree people, and the Hollywood Park people. Not a lot of synergy between those organizations. And by the way, the New York-bred Discreet Mark, she loses the closest Matriarch ever. And that was an unfortunate day at the spa. Another rough go of it in the Matriarch. Not the favorite this time. And Egg Drop scores a brilliant victory. I think, I didn't look at my own notes, but I think it was the first time the Matriarch was ever settled by a nose.
Egg Drop getting away at a price, too, for a horse that really became good with the move to the turf. I mean, this is turning out to be a really nice turf horse, and they let that one get away off a nice win last time out. So it was a good weekend of racing, though. And then on the top end...
Who had the best weekend?
Well, I think if you look from here going forward and just in a business sense, I think Will Take Charge had the best weekend. Will Take Charge won himself an Eclipse Award, and I think up the value for the the offers.
Game on Dude wins the older male now.
I think if he won, yes.
Well, he'd have to if
he
won.
I think the second place finish, I actually think probably hurts him. I think it'll be interesting
because
the
East Coast media, it's like you always have to play away games and do great. What they never feel that way about the East Coast horses when they go away and get their head handed to them and go. I always say this, no one ever said about Sky Beauty, geez, you never went outside of New York. They never say things like that. It's always, you never went outside of California.
Well, I don't know. Sky Beauty, I think because Sky Beauty was so provincial. I think you did occasionally hear that with her. But there are some
not always
horses
provincial. She always got her head handed to her in the Breeders'
yeah.
Cup. I mean, she never showed up. Like, she was awful.
Yeah, outside of New York. She was definitely a New York horse.
So it'll be interesting. How about, and I've said this going on, this has been going on for 3 years, Monday through Sunday, race 1 through race 9, that Javier Castellano has, now he hasn't had unbelievable peaks like Joel Rosario has had for months at a time, but for 36 months, Javier Castellano has been, I said this a couple years ago, I want to say 2012 when he didn't win the riding title, that he had the best year of everybody. I mean, we watch racing every day. I mean, that dopey stuff, the aggregate number of winners, that doesn't impress me. I mean, it just doesn't. You watch racing every day, and Castellano has been great for the last 3 years. And obviously, John Velasquez got hurt. He picked up some mounts. But I really thought, I have to tell you something. I know it's rare in our game. I felt as if Pat Day, he had more with Honor Code. I wasn't surprised that I think he was looking. He thought that Honor Code needed a breather. He gave him the breather, and then he gave him the 11 and change for the last eighth of a mile.
I just tip my cap to him for being up close to that dawdling early pace, which is not Honor Code style. But we had Richard Migliore on Loose on the Lead yesterday, and as he noted, it just seems like jockeys now don't have the clock in their heads that we heard
Richard
going and going
Migliore
up.
is 20 years late with that comment.
Oh, I think he's been saying it for a while, though. But
when he was riding. Now, here's another thing. This is what and I'm a pace guy, so I'm predisposed to this. I've always said this about horses like Honor Code. He's there. He's running his race.
Yeah, except
they're so slow. They're supposed to be 10 lengths faster.
But I think it's not just the pace for horses like that. I think it's part of picking up horses and going by horses. So I think it's that's part of the style.
I think it's cadence for horses. And I always talk about athletes in their natural climate. They want a certain rhythm, and I thought he was in his rhythm. And the teletimer didn't surprise me. My thought was he's doing his things. You people are 12 lengths slow. Seth, when I saw 117, I'm like, and now this is what worries me, and it worried me about To Honor and Serve a couple years ago. In American dirt racing, I don't like slow, fast. And that's what To Honor and Serve always did. He always ran slow pace fractions, and then fast. I said, it doesn't work out. So that's what I was chagrined about the Demoiselle and the Remsen. They were so slow, and the girls end up going 0.3 of a second faster. Well, they had to. The boys went 1:17 for 6 furlongs, and I believe, Seth, correct me if I'm wrong, it was a fast racetrack.
Well, the Demoiselle and the Remsen, the paces were dawdling, but then you look at the Cumley and the Cigar, and they were legitimate. So it wasn't the track.
No, that's what I'm saying. I was being somewhat facetious. My son looked at me yesterday when I used that word concerning his mother. What does that mean? I said, they don't honestly mean what they're saying. So we'll see going forward. And the only thing that I'm chagrined about with Honor Code is that, to me, it's just like with Honor and Serve. I don't know what to make of it. It's such a phony race when you see those type of internal fractions. And when I say phony, this is what I mean by it. Going forward, big-time races on dirt in North America aren't run that way, so I don't know. That's my thing.
But again, I give him credit for being up there on a pace that was against his style, and I think a lot of that is the mental. I think they like to have those horses out in front of them to chase. And I give him points, too, for that move in the stretch. That's something you don't see either. A horse come back like that on the inside. That was gutsy. So, yeah, I'm with you, though. I don't know what to quite make of that race. We'll find out more about him, obviously, next year. The game plan is going to be to go forward. But there was an article by Bob Ehalt on ESPN.com yesterday saying that 58 of the last 58 winners of the Breeders' Cup Juvenile and the Remsen, 3 of them have won the Kentucky Derby. So it might have even been 2 of them have won the Kentucky Derby. And you had to go a while back to get the Remsen winner.
How far back?
I think Thunder Gulch.
Yeah, 95.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, it's not a key race. I mean, and I always get interested about the statistics with Thunder Gulch. And 2 years earlier, they won. The Remsen won it 2 out of 3 years. So in 1996, everyone's going, the Remsen is a key race, etc. My only worry is, and I've said this before, I just like I said, they look great and everything's great, but slow fast is.
And speaking of
rough.
that, I was very surprised that all others in the future pool got away at 4 to 5. I think $3.60 in May look like a very generous payoff. I thought all others would be about 1 to 5 after that bet close.
I can see that. I mean, once again, I never look up the scoreboard and go, geez, I missed 360.
Well, I think the game plan, though, is to hedge somehow. That's a whales bet. But again, to me, 4 to 5.
Good luck.
At this point, you look at those other 23 horses, and the shortest single odds was Honor Code at 10 to 1. 10 to 1. And I'm not taking 10 to 1 for the horse just to make it to the starting gate.
I'm not taking 40 to 1.
Yeah, there had to be something about 50 to 1 to make a sniff in that pool, but it was interesting. All right, let's shift our attention now to the handicapping portion of the program. I'm going to look at Finger Lakes a little later on, but we're going to kick things off with Parks for this afternoon. Their opener, maiden claimer, $13,000 to $15,000 tags. These are fillies and mares 3, 4, and 5 years old, going 5 furlongs.
And I'll say this, as I was doing the Parks card for Monday, this was 2 days ago, and then obviously in the midst of all the wonderful action. I mean, Saturday's card at Churchill Downs was fantastic, and the good guys had flat out in the Naira Mile. I looked at this card, and I was like, you know what? This is a very nice Monday morning for yours truly. Quite enthused over this card. 2-5-6 in the opener, ladies and gentlemen, and Slammin' Beauty gets my top pick, scheduled to make the first start since income tax day off of the long layoff. This will be the third career start. And as I looked at these races, what I often found on this card was there seemed in about 6 or 7 of the races that there's going to be a strong favorite in the race. And I thought that, quite honestly, that often the second or third choice was as attractive, or even in a couple cases, more attractive than the short price horse that I think they're going to go to. And Slammin' Beauty is one of them. We might receive better than 5 to 2 here off of the April 15th layoff. And when this horse debuted for a tag race very, very well, and in the second career start, everything went bad in a maiden special weight race. But when you've been laid off for 7+ months, I'm not so sure it was the race. It was rather an incident. So I'm happy to come back to the races today for a tag. We've run well in the career debut. Let's hope we run well 7 months later. Number 2, Slammin' Beauty is our top pick. For a second, number 5, She Craves Capital. Now here's the 8 to 5 shot that I think will be a short price after running well to a runner-up position and a brilliant Buyer speed figure at this level. Then tried Maiden Claimers 25 5 weeks later. Not so well. I have to think that Kathleen Damasi's runner is going to be the short price favorite. And for third, number 6, Southern Journey. Last 3 races have been kind of tough finishes, but maybe we can get a small piece under Angel Arroyo, and I have to think here we'll get better than 3 to 2 after coming off of 3 consecutive, 7 to 2, excuse me, coming off of 3 consecutive abysmal races. Previous to that at Parks, though, sharp efforts that would make them competitive in here. 2-5-6 in the opener.
Race number 2 at Parks this afternoon is a conditional claiming event. The claiming tags are $7,500. The condition non-winners are 4 lifetime. Fillies and mares 3-year-olds and up, 1.70 miles.
And 5-2-4 are my selections. And here we have the third choice in the wagering. And a field of 6, that Wild Pantera to me is quite attractive here, going out for Ramon Preciado, scheduled to make the third start this afternoon at Parks, coming off of a 2-turn mile race at Penn National, back-to-back 4th place finishes off of a summer campaign. I think this offspring of Awfully Wild is very, very good in here. Should sit a dream trip in here now if we're good enough. And I do think because we have a couple of precipitously shorter price morning line horses, Wild Pantera, my top pick, the number 5, will be probably 4 or 5 to 1. For second, number 2, She's All Timber, 2 to 1 on the morning line. 2 races back, scored a convincing victory in a non-winners of 3, and then tried an allowance state bred race. Most recently, now gets back to the next reasonable spot, a 4L. For third, number 4, Bird Few, going out after a victory in a 3L, Tried open claimers. We've talked about that before. That is rough going. Tried this level, but for more expensive at 20 to 1. Let's get back to this off the pace type of runner. 5-2-4 in the second from Parks.
Race number 3 at Parks is another conditional claiming event. Claiming tags $14,000 to $16,000. Non-winners and 2 lifetime. The condition: fillies and mares, 3-year-olds and up. 6 furlongs to trip.
And Seth, as I was going through this card, and I recognized we seem to have 6-horse fields, which quite frankly was about half the field size of the last time I did the Handicappers Report, which was closing day at Churchill Downs. But as I said, as I approached each race, I was like, you know what? These are quite appetizing to bet in short fields. Now, it's hard to get a windfall because no matter how long the shots are, you know, how many directions can the good folks go? 4-6-3. Good Decaz is 5 to 1 in here and attracts my attention in 7 career starts, only out of the exacta once. The downside is 5 second place finishes before breaking the maiden, most recently in maiden claimers, and you know how I feel about. I'm not that hung up on seconditis very much. I'm more interested in as the athlete gets better and now you get on a winning streak, taking on winners the first time. Doesn't bother me at all. This horse is in sharp form, and I think fits taking on winners for the first time. And Scott Lake finds the next reasonable spot, 2L. The outside horse, number 6, 40 Shades of Green. Guadalupe Preciado sends out this runner who woke up and ran demonstratively better at this level after getting her head handed to her in consecutive starter allowance. And for third, first off the claim, number 3, All About Avery. Luis Linder, a 13% trainer, but almost 30% first off the claim. 8 to 1. I don't think I'm the only guy that can read stats. 4-6-3.
Your 6-horse, 40 Shades of Green, a daughter of the Green Monkey. The Green Monkey standing for $5,000.
And
a little bit of a letdown.
I've said it before. It's unimaginable because I understand they paid $16 million. You know, it's all about the breeding shed, but you know, it's not working out, and he's not. He hasn't made any waves.
Oh, absolutely.
So,
I mean, we're seeing a daughter here running for $16,000 at Parks.
I mean, this is his second group of racing age, so he's toast.
Yeah,
he's toast.
Yeah, there's got to service a lot of services for $5,000.
And I said, you know, I've said this about trainers. I've said about public handicappers. You know, Coolmore is obviously a very sharp operation, but they booted it.
Yeah, on that one, definitely. That is one of the all times. The 4th at Parks today, another conditional claiming event. Claiming tags in this one, $7,500. Non-winners a 3 lifetime. The condition: fillies and mares, 3-year-olds and up. They'll go 1.70 miles.
5-3-1, ladies and gentlemen. 5 is gift wrap. We certainly hope Victor Carrasco can gift wrap this for us. Comes off of a light freshing, a nice runner-up position most recently. A horse who does very, very well at Parks. For second, number 3, Malibu Love. Well, you said it there. Richard Vega, we like him in the first. We like him in here. First off a $10,000 claim. An effort in the 3L condition that was just up against it, going 7. Now gets 1.70 miles. And I've said this before, and I know I'm a pace guy, so I lean that way. But sometimes with the relaxed pace, going a distance of ground after you've faded sprinting isn't so bad. And for third, number 1, Tsunami Striker goes out for the first start since scoring a smashing victory, going 1 mile in a 2L at Parks, August 17th. 5-3-1 in the 4th.
And Tony Black on your number 3 horse there, Malibu Love, who back from retirement, doing pretty well. 18, according to the stats here, 18 starts, 7 of those in the money so far on the comeback for Tony Black. 5th at Parks this afternoon, a calendar condition claimer, claiming tags $5,000. 3-year-olds and up, they will go flat mile.
And I would say like those 18 starts have been over like 120 days. I mean,
he's not putting in too many mounts, no question about it.
Forget multiple mounts on a given day.
No,
his workload is very, very sporadic because I was looking back about basically been doing Parks either a Monday or Tuesday show for about 3 or 4 weeks now, and I remember looking where he was like at 12. You know, 12. I mean, it's just slow little drip here late in the game for Mr. Black. 3-7-1 as we go 2 turns here with Armed Intelligence, making the second start off of an 8-month and 2-day layoff. going to wheel right back here, and I think there's a very good possibility that we come back a week later. Why? That was just practice instead of workouts. Now, you bet the horse at 2-1 off of the 7-month layoff, more power to you. But I think that's just one of those ones where you roll the dices, you take your chances. But that was just a workout for me for this offspring of Include. Now we go the mile, and we're tuned up. Number 3, Armed Intelligence. For second, number 7, Best Jazz, who's 9-5 coming on the morning line, coming off of a poor effort, the most recent effort, July 16th. And for third, number 1, Uncle Greg. I may regret not putting this horse up closer, but running from well back in the pace, some things are going to have to break right for Uncle Greg. And one of the things that I do not foresee breaking right is, to me, Best Jazz is going to have a soft, easy lead. There's not going to be a strong pace at which to run, but maybe we can clunk up and get third, 3-7-1.
All right, that'll bring us to our first commercial break. When we come back, we'll continue our look at Parks a little later on. Finger Lakes, stay tuned.
Missed one of our TV shows? No worries. Now you can catch all your favorite programs online. Simply log on to CapitalOTV.com and click on the YouTube link at the bottom of the homepage. And look for our new podcast coming soon. CapitalOTV.com. Log on today.
Hey, race fans, head down to the all-new Clubhouse Racebook and get in the game. With live horse racing on more than 250 flat-screen TVs, state-of-the-art wagering terminals, fantastic food and drinks, an amazing Vegas-style atmosphere with seating for nearly 900 of your closest friends. Conveniently located at 711 Central Avenue, right off Exit 5 of I-90 in Albany, the Clubhouse Racebook is the better choice.
Using CapitalOTBBet.com is as easy as 1, 2, 3. 1. Simply log on with your username and password from the homepage. 2. Fund your Capital OTB account through our Easy Money, Green Dot, or Visa MasterCard options. And 3. Place your bet on one of our 3 easy-to-navigate wagering platforms, Capital Bet TV, Capital Bet Express, or Capital Bet Pro. CapitalOTBBet.com. Log on today.
The Capital OTB Handicapping Challenge Series is back. That's right, the 2013 Capital OTB Handicapping Challenge Series is back, and it's your chance to win thousands in cash and prizes and a seat at the 2014 National Handicapping Championship in Las Vegas. This month, the Capital Cup on December 7th. So sign up today online at CapitalOTB.com or stop in at the Clubhouse Racebook. And don't forget our Showviver Series, Capital OTB's online handicapping contest. I'm Seth Merrill. Join me weekdays at 10 for Racing Across America. We'll look at important races from around the country, get insight from top handicappers and analysts, and preview the upcoming week in racing. That's Racing Across America, weekdays at 10, right here on the OTB TV network. Welcome back to the Handicappers Report. Seth Merrill and Anthony Mormino here on this Monday morning after the Thanksgiving weekend. Hopefully everybody had a good holiday, ready to kick off a brand new racing week. We'll continue now our look at Parks Racing with their 6th conditional claimer, 7,500 tags, non-winners of 2 lifetime the condition. 3-year-olds and up, they'll go 5.5. And I look down here, the number 4, the Mad Piper. Our friend Roddy Valente has a horse in here.
They, weekdays over at Parks, years ago, and I'm going back to like 98 and everything, Parks used to have some big-time pace races, and their sprints were awesome. And, Roddy's run a lot of sprinting-style horses through the year, Coyote Lakes notwithstanding, but 9-2-4 here. Brother Leo draws the outside in his 5.5 furlong dash, and he gets my top pick coming off of an explosive victory, winning by better than half a dozen, breaking the maiden. Now we take on winners for the first time, but I've talked about it before. This horse has been on a roll the last 3 or 4 races and clearly put everything together, found a field that they could dominate, and they did. And, for me, I just like the fact that we're an athlete on a roll. We draw the outside here with very, very good early speed, good enough for me to take the 6-1 shot on top. For second, number 2, Campo's Image, going out this afternoon for the 9th career start. 2 back and off the board finish, going 5, a sharp, sharp effort. For third, the aforementioned number 4, the Mad Piper, who showed little in the debut and then nearly 11 months ago ran a hole in the wind as the 3-2 favorite in a state-bred maiden claimer. coming out of the Bruce Levine barn, and then not seen for close to 10 months. I love the comeback race. I mean, I got to say one thing. And Tockett, who I think Tockett was about 1 for 20 after he won the Remsen. Not too good after that. We're near the end. This has all the earmarkings of welcome back to the races, and I think very few people will be shunned by the 10th and ninth and last place finish being 8th after that terrific comeback, and now having, let me do the math here, 3 weeks off of that return to the races. If this horse is 6-1, move them up, ladies and gentlemen. 9-2-4.
7th race today at Parks is a plain vanilla claimer. This one, $14,000 to $16,000 tags. 3-year-olds and up, they'll go 6.5.
And as I was handicapping this race, I have the 1E. I take the entry, the Ron Dandy entry. I'll take either one. I couldn't even get a feel for which one might scratch, predicated on most recent race. And as I looked over, Calvados, the 1, and Super Robusto, the 1A, I'd be happy to take either of them. So it is the 1E entry for me on top. For second, number 4, Thunderball. The aforementioned Tony Black, going to be exhausted this afternoon. Takes the mount for Richard Vega, second off of a $16,000 claim, and a nice third place finish. For third, number 6, Neum Strike. Got to throw out the most recent effort for a little bit of a reach on this 10-1 morning line shot, but comes down to a $16,000 level. In this vicinity, and this is certainly subjective on my part, the last time we were in this vicinity, you got to go back to June 22nd, scoring in a claimer, non-winners of 3, has run against starter allowance and non-winners of 2 other than cents. Be interested to see the 10-1 price on this class drop, 1E46.
I looked it up because you said Tockett. Tockett sticks in my mind because he is the perfect example of the voters ending their thoughts after the Breeders' Cup with vindication that year. And I thought, he won the Hollywood Futurity after the Remsen.
Yeah, 1 for like 15.
Oh, no, and then he won the Widener at Parks leading into the Pennsylvania Derby. So he was 2.
Oh, he won 2?
He was 2 for
that Widener had to be like a listed stakes or something.
Yeah, it was not a graded stake. I'm assuming
that's not the famous Widener handicap grade 1 at Hialeah.
I'm assuming it's probably a prep for the Pennsylvania, some kind of a prep because it was run in August.
Did he ever win a graded stakes after the cash call Futurity?
No.
Yeah, he was done.
Yeah.
The Remsen was just about the
and clearly there was trouble there because the Hollywood Futurity was the last race he ran prior to that August 3-year-old debut in the Widener.
And he never got back to go. I'll tell you what, if you take a look at like the last 20 years of the Remsen winner, except for like No Biz, like Showbiz and Bluegrass Cat, it's not attractive.
What was it last year? Overanalyzed?
Yeah. I mean, it's rough.
All right, the 8th at Parks this afternoon, an allowance event. Allowance non-winners are 1 other than is the condition. 3-year-olds and up, they will go 1 mile.
6-8-3 for me. Super Slam gets my top pick going out of the Guadalupe Preciado barn. Very, very sharp runner in here. Has good early speed. Just got beat ahead at 2-1 most recently. For second, number 8 on the outside, Caliparty. First off the $30,000 claim, only the second race since July. First race since the first day of autumn, a runner-up position, scheduled to make the Parks debut. And for third, saving our hide on Veterans Day, number 3, Drax Hall Woods, who was in the finale that afternoon, scored by 4 at 13-1 for the good guys, 6-8-3.
9th and final at Parks today, a maiden claimer, $10,000 tags. These are fillies and mares 3, 4, and 5-year-old. They're going 5.5, and is the hunch bet for the weekend shop till closing, the number 6 horse?
It's my top pick. But what I looked at here was, and I circled a couple, there was only really 3 runners in here, and the 3 who is 50-1. When I see the bevy of negative zeros, I think of other racing jurisdictions than Parks, but this finale is not loaded with them. Just a couple, and we don't bet hunch horses here. I think the only hunch bet I ever made in my life was the morning after our son was born. I think I did bet the 2-5 daily double. I think it's the only time in my life I've ever. What do you think? I'm getting cash.
Occasionally.
I understand, but the one thing I thought that's justice. I'm anti that type of thing in life. I shouldn't be rewarded. The first time I stepped up, I was rewarded with our son. That was enough. 6, 9, and 1. And I think the only reason I bet is I think my wife would have yelled at me when she got out of the hospital if she found out I didn't bet it. But made a $20 straight early daily double. We didn't win, trust me. Stop, shop till closing. Score, on Cyber Monday, I guess. But it was the effort most recently when really running brilliantly and a strong middle move, which I like as a pace guy. Just got run over the top the last eighth of them. I love the comment, bid not good enough. Yeah, I guess so. For second, number 9, a little bit of luck. This horse, the week after Veterans Day, couldn't save our bacon after making all the polls. And for third, the rail, number 1, Harlan's Trick, shipping in from Southern California for the Parks debut at 2-1 on the morning line, 6, 9, 1 in the finale.
They do come through, though, because both my mother and my father over the years, there have been horses named Scott, which is my brother's name, that they made money on. It was a few, when Shotgun Scott in the Travers was underneath a few years.
Absolutely,
At
1990.
a big price, and my father hit an exacta
Now,
there.
but
so.
here's the thing. If your parents are people that like feeling in your bones and are intuitive people like that, those good folks should be rewarded. I'm a math guy, and I shouldn't be rewarded because I believe in work solely.
All right, there we go. We'll take our bottom of the hour break. When we come back, we'll kick off with Finger Lakes. Stay tuned.
The future of online betting is here, and only at the all-new CapitalOTBBet.com. CapitalOTBBet.com delivers a state-of-the-art wagering experience found nowhere else in horse racing. CapitalOTBBet.com. Log on today.
Funding your Capital OTB Bet account is as easy as 1, 2, 3. 1. Easy Money. Clearly the fastest and easiest method of depositing funds into your account. Make deposits or withdrawals in just minutes. 2. Green Dot Money Pack. Gives you instant access to your funds. Green Dot Money Packs are available at thousands of retailers nationwide. And 3. MasterCard Visa. Simply click on the link from the funding page, enter your account information, and fund your account. CapitalOTBBet.com. Log on today.
Each morning on the OTB TV network, you get the very best in horse racing programming. Weekdays begin with the Handicappers Report, where professional handicappers share their selections and analysis of the day's racing. Followed by Racing Across America, a daily conversation with racing personalities from around the country. Saturdays include Down the Stretch, where Mark Casano speaks with the biggest names in racing. And Sunday mornings, it's Loose on the Lead, where Steve Bick and I offer news and a unique lineup of weekly guests. All here on the OTB TV network.
Wagering at CapitalOTBBet.com is as easy as 1, 2, 3. 1. Capital Bet TV, the fastest and easiest online wagering experience where you can monitor 5 different tracks simultaneously. 2. Capital Bet Express. Its straightforward program layout and interactive handicapping information lets you build your wager quickly and efficiently. And 3. Capital Bet Pro, designed especially for the professional horse player. CapitalOTBBet.com. Log on today.
This is Steve Beck. Join me Tuesday through Saturday here on OTB TV for At the Races, my Sirius XM daily news magazine of the thoroughbred industry. Handicapping, interviews, analysis, everything you could want. 6 a.m. OTB TV.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, the Handicappers Report alongside Seth Merrill. I'm Anthony Mormino. Parks is behind us, now heading towards Finger Lakes on this Monday afternoon. In the opener, 3-year-olds and up. Maiden claimers in for the popular tag of $4,500, going 6 furlongs.
I have this one 5, 7, 2, and 4. Commodus, the number 5 horse. I just think this horse could turn out to be a crafty claim for Chris Engelhardt. This horse debuted early in September at Belmont on the turf for a 25 tag, and then trainer-owner Abigail Adsit shipped this horse up to Finger Lakes, dropped it for a 4,500 tag. Nice second that day. Again, claimed by Chris Engelhardt, pretty crafty trainer up there at Finger Lakes. So as I say, I think this could turn out to be a nice, smart claim. Comes right back at the $4,500 level, and I think at 4-1, that could be a nice, generous price to look at if the morning line holds up. Second spot, Transito, the number 7 horse, showed some improvement in the latest start. Now, was that an aberration, or is this horse just turning it around? I'm hoping for the latter, and it seems like that may be the case. This horse has had some nicely spaced races over the first 4 starts of the career. Last time was the first one where we've been able to string a couple of races together. So there may just be some fitness, a light bulb turning on. Transito in the second spot, and then Johnny B. Jack in the third spot. Third at this level last time, had been racing against better, dropped down to 4,500 and got some education and seems to have found the comfort zone. I think that one will be in the mix. Watch out for the horse I have in the fourth spot, Miss the Wagon, the number 4 horse. 12-1 on the morning line off the career debut. That will definitely hold up, maybe even float up. But with Silver Wagon on top, I find this horse maybe a little bit interesting. With some first out education, it wouldn't surprise me to see some improvement in the second start. And again, I think there'll be some value there for the number 4. So just toss that one out there to keep in mind. In the opener, 5, 7, 2, and 4.
Shotgun Scott was only 25 to 1 when he won the Fountain of Youth. I'll find out the horse at a huge price. On to the second half of the early daily double. 3-year-olds and up. Fillies and Maris in for a claiming tag of 4,500. Restricted to non-winners of 2 lifetime. Also going 6.
5, 6, 2, and 8. The number 5 is Wild Brassy. Was a beaten favorite with some trouble last time and now drops. This is, I think, going to be one of those what have you done for me lately kind of scenarios where the betting public will look at that last race and maybe shy away a little bit. 4-1 on the morning line. So this horse isn't going to float up to be some crazy price, but I think that 4-1 maybe hold in that area and we'll get some value on a horse that I think favored last time at 75, now drops, and there was an excuse last time. I think Wild Brassy will be live in here. Second spot, 6-5 on the morning line. Love is Key Kaz. 1 on the move to Finger Lakes, made that Naira to Finger Lakes move. I think the buyer figure as compared to my top pick might be a little light, but won so easily, I don't know whether we saw the ceiling there. So I don't have any argument with Love is Key Kaz being a favorite in here. It's just, I think Wild Brassy, I think these two are pretty comparable, and as I say, I think Wild Brassy on the drop could be a little bit interesting. So Wild Brassy on top, Love is Key Kaz. Again, no arguments with the morning line. I think this horse will be the one to beat. And then 12-1 on the morning line, the number 2, City Babe, gets in the third spot for me. And I'm just looking at the numbers, the rest of the field, and I'm finding this one to look to be kind of a cozy fit with this particular bunch. The last start was a nice second place finish, well beaten by a runaway winner, but a nice gutsy second to get that second place over the third place finisher by a small margin. But again, a nice gritty performance, and as I say, I think it fits well with this field. So in the second, 5, 6, 2, and 8.
I was 6 years ahead of my times. 1996 Fountain of Youth, built for pleasure. Not $173, $143 to 1, $288.
I don't even remember Built for Pleasure.
He built Unbridled's song, who was odds on. I was saying this, Seth, when we were talking about it. I just have this memory thing for horses that just pay gigantic prices, and I thought the Shotgun Scott for his parents really could have scored him out if they had been paying attention in February 1990.
But I'm thinking that may be the reason of the price. I don't even remember Built for Pleasure.
Well, anytime 143 to 1. Geez. On to the third race this afternoon. 3-year-olds and up. This is a dated claimer in for the tag of 4,500. They're going to race 2 turns at a mile 70. I'm
going to do a play of the day in here, box up my top 3-horse exacta box, 3, 4, 8, and 5. The number 3 is Wabash River. Won a similar event last time. I've said it before. When these horses win races that are same condition, similar, or the same distance, why not right back? It was a decent effort with a good buyer figure. Wabash River gets the top nod on a repeat, and again, in a similar event today. Number 4, Bulldog on a Bone. I think this one is dropping to find a level to get a win. You look over the past, really right down the page of past performances, you're not seeing a win. Now, this horse does have a couple of wins this year, but has raced plenty, 20 starts, and as I say, there are no wins showing on the page. So I think the drop, last couple of starts at 75, last time was a third place finish. Again, I think moves to this 45. It's the end of the season. I think they're looking for a spot where this horse can be competitive at this point in the season. And then in the third spot, the number 8, Suspicious You. I think this horse over the last 4 starts seems to be in some pretty decent form, certainly as compared to most of this field. So I think Suspicious You also going to be logical. As I say, I'm going to box up my top 3 in here. Hope these morning line odds hold up because my top pick at 4-1 certainly will add some value to this play. So box up the top 3 in a little exacta play of the day. 3, 4, 8, and 5.
Moving on to race number 4 at Finger Lakes this afternoon. 3-year-olds and up, fillies and mares, claimers in for 4,500. A dated variety, dashing 5.5.
2, 12, 8, and 1. The number 2 is Joyce's Choice, and I just think this horse seems to have the best recent numbers. I've said it before. Best recent numbers doesn't mean this horse has the best numbers, because you can look back on the page for some of these other horses and see comparable numbers, but I just think this is the best recent form of putting together some consistent numbers that, as I say, looking at the last 2 or 3 or 4 races, have maybe a little bit of an edge on the rest of this field. So Joyce's Choice, slight nod in here. Then we'll go to the outside, the number 12, Bebo Blues Art, who to me has some improving recent form. Now, if you go 3 starts back, it's a little weak, but 2 and the last time out, 2 starts back and the last time out, I think those numbers, again, fit with this bunch, moving forward, and could signal a horse that is just moving to the top of that fitness cycle at this current time. So we'll put the 12 in the mix, and then the number 8, Wink and Fly, has some early speed, and I think this horse might be a little tighter today than we saw last time. That was the first off of pretty much of a summer and early fall layoff. Dropped to this $4,500 level last time, got some fitness, and again, I think second time back off the layoff, Wink and Fly could be a little tighter today. In the 4th, 2, 12, 8, and 1.
On to the 5th race. We have 3-year-olds and up. Claimers in for $4,500. Non-winners of 2 lifetime. Racing 6.
12, 10, 11, and 1. I'm hoping the outside is going to be working in this race, because I am stuck way out there with all 3 of my top selections. The number 12, I'm taking a little bit of a shot here on the cutback for the 29% trainer, Jeremiah Engelhardt, and it's a weak field. Now, this horse made the Naira to Finger Lakes move 2 starts back, won pretty convincingly to break the maiden in the first start at Finger Lakes, then dropped into the 4,500, non-winners of 2 last time. Mile and 40, ran an okay 4th. Blinkers off today, the cutback. Cutback is what attracts my attention here. I think AM Mayhem for Jeremiah Engelhardt could be kind of interesting. Risk On, the number 11 horse, I think is eligible off the latest. Gets an equipment change, adds the blinkers today, and that combines with the low percentage trainer actually to be a little bit of a negative for me. As I say, last time was a pretty good effort. So it's a little dicey to me that the horse throws in a good effort and then they decide to change up the equipment. And then you look at the fact that the trainer is 1 for 2013. Maybe that explains the equipment change. Maybe the equipment change explains why he's 1 for 2013. It just seems to me off a good effort, why change things up like that? So I scratched my head a little bit, but I think this horse in the form it's in right now, Risk On, will be a contender. And then actually Risk On was my 3rd selection. In the 2nd spot, I do have number 10, Road to Love. And this is just one over the past 3 starts. Numbers are improving nicely. A nice 2nd place finish last time. So again, looking at the buyers over the starts 3, 2, and 1 start back, they've been moving forward nicely, Road to Love. So again, Road to Love is actually in the 2nd spot, and Risk On in the 3rd spot. So again, in the 5th today at Finger Lakes, I have it 12, 10, 11, and 1.
We'll take a quick break. When we come back, second half of today's action from Finger Lakes.
I'm Steve Beck.
And I'm Seth Merrill.
Together, we're loose on the lead on Capital OTB, Sundays at 10 a.m. Why should they watch, Seth?
Sit down on Sunday, have a bagel, get some great racing conversation.
Cream cheese only, no jelly. Sundays, 10 a.m., loose on the lead, Capital OTB.
The Capital OTB Handicapping Challenge Series is back. That's right, the 2013 Capital OTB Handicapping Challenge Series is back, and it's your chance to win thousands in cash and prizes and a seat at the 2014 National Handicapping Championship in Las Vegas. This month, the Capital Cup on December 7th. So sign up today online at capitalotb.com or stop in at the Clubhouse Racebook. And don't forget our Showviver Series, Capital OTB's online handicapping contest.
Using CapitalOTBBet.com is as easy as 1, 2, 3. 1. Simply log on with your username and password from the homepage. 2. Fund your Capital OTB account through our Easy Money, Green Dot, or Visa MasterCard options. And 3. Place your bet on one of our 3 easy-to-navigate wagering platforms, Capital Bet TV, Capital Bet Express, or Capital Bet Pro. CapitalOTBBet.com. Log on today.
Hey, race fans, head down to the all-new Clubhouse Racebook and get in the game. With live horse racing on more than 250 flat-screen TVs, state-of-the-art wagering terminals, fantastic food and drinks, an amazing Vegas-style atmosphere with seating for nearly 900 of your closest friends. Conveniently located at 711 Central Avenue, right off Exit 5 of I-90 in Albany, the Clubhouse Racebook is the better choice.
I'm Mark Cassano. Join me Saturday mornings at 10 for Down the Stretch. We'll inform, analyze, and welcome in the biggest names in racing. So join me Saturday mornings at 10 for Down the Stretch, right here on the OTB Television Network.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. Up to race number 6 at Finger Lakes alongside Seth Merrill. I am Anthony Mormino, and as Seth likes to say, a vanilla claimer in the 6. 3-year-olds and up. Claimers in for 45, going a mile 70.
1A, 6, 8, and 4, and the 1A is historically, and this is one of those horses, I mentioned it earlier, I had a horse with a recent buyer edge, and if you look back in the past performances, you saw comparable. This one I think just has a buyer edge. Now a slight one, but I think if you look over the past 4 races, again, I think this horse is just doing better number-wise than the rest of the field. So historically, the 1A on top for me. Second spot, number 6, Johnny's Galaxy, won a similar race last time and did so pretty convincingly. And I said it just earlier on the card, if these horses come back in essentially the same condition, and they're coming off a win, why not again today? 6-1 on the morning line, given that factor, looks kind of generous to me. Third spot, we will go with the number 8, Play Big or Go Home. Got some experience in the plain vanilla 4,500 level last time. The race 2 back would be good enough to win it here. That was a conditional claimer, won that pretty convincingly with a nice buyer figure. And again, as I say, got some nice experience at this level last time. I'm going to box up my top 4 in here, given the odds. I think it's a competitive race, so I'll tread lightly, but I will do a little 4-horse exacta box in here. You know, we have 5-2, we have 8-1 in the mix, we have 6-1 among my top 3. If those hold up, it should be a decent exacta and offer a little bit of value. Do take a look, though, because I'm not quite sure these will hold up. I think we'll probably be in the ballpark, though, because, you know, it's a decent-sized field. You got 8 betting interest in here. So, again, we'll box up the top 4, given the morning lines holding up. 1A, 6, 8, and 4.
On to the 7th race. We have 3-year-olds and up. Fillies and Mares in for $4,500. Non-winners of 3 races in 365 days, racing a mile 40 yards.
6, 2, 3, and 1. The number 6 is Coweta, who number 6 horse, I just think might take them all away again. Went wire to wire last time. Calendar condition 4,500. Did so over sloppy sealed track. May have been aided that day, but this horse has showed plenty of speed before. I think that's going to be the game plan. There are some other horses that have a little bit of speed. Just think this will be the speed of the speed. We'll put number 6 on top. Number 2, GA Empress in the second spot. I think the numbers fit pretty well here. You go back the last, 4 starts. Again, the numbers seem to be pretty comparable with what it should be expected to be up in the top few finishing positions. So GA Empress gets in the mix. And then the number 3, Mac and Mayo. I think might prove interesting on the stretch out. This horse has been sprinting. I think the numbers are pretty good, especially 2 starts back in the nice win in a 4,500 B level claimer. Regressed a little bit last time in a calendar condition, a similar condition to this race. But again, could be a little bit interesting today on the stretch out after sprinting for a while. So Mac and Mayo gets in the mix also. 7th race, 6, 2, 3, and 1.
Moving on to race number 8, we have 3-year-olds and up. Claimers in for $4,500, racing 6.
And I'll tell you, if you look at this field, this is a pretty good $4,500 claimer. Very competitive field. Some really nice horses. They're putting up some very good numbers. I think it's a competitive, fun race. I wound up 1, 6, 5, and 4. The number 1 is Boston Chief, who I just think might speed pop him. Has some pretty good numbers, has plenty of early speed. Clearly will be sent from the rail post position. So look for pedal to the metal and a catch me if you can angle for the number 1, Boston Chief. Second spot, the number 6, Straight Thunder. This is a horse that hasn't missed an exacta in the last 5 races, so in some very good form right now, and I think will be a cozy fit with this particular bunch. Similar scenario to the number 5, Patron Saint. This is a horse, 11 starts this year, and has not missed the board in any of those 11 starts. So this is a horse that's in some pretty good form and has maintained that form all season long. In the 8th, I have it 1, 6, 5, and 4.
And in the 9th race this afternoon, we had 3-year-olds and up fillies and mares, maiden claimers in for $4,500, dashing 5.5.
And 3, 6, 2, and 7 for me. The number 3 is Shah Sheer Ego. I just think this horse is the best of a bad bunch. This is clearly a very weak field to end the day. This is a horse that just has some numbers, has some speed. The last few races has shown some form, so just clearly has an edge. I don't think that 7-2 is going to hold up. Everybody's going to see just what I see. There aren't a lot of horses in here that you can really lean to with much confidence, but again, this just seems to be the best of a weak field. Second spot, the number 6, Ivory Lightning, seems to be live off the last buyer figure. I'm not quite sure what to make of that exactly because it is a little bit of an aberration. Did go back in the past performances, though, was firing around this number, so it may just be rounding back into some decent form. So Ivory Lightning in the mix, and then Briar, the number 2 horse. Again, another one that ran well in the last start, just may signal a rebound to some decent form. We'll see today. Again, it's one of those races where nothing would really surprise me. It's a weak field, but I went with some horses that just have shown a little bit of life recently. 3, 6, 2, and 7.
And that's a look at the 9-race card this afternoon from Finger Lakes. And this afternoon on this first Monday in December, we'll have plenty of action for you on the network, commencing with Finger Lakes at 12:15, followed by Parks, Monticello for the harness fans, matinee card today. Then Beulah Park, Zia joined in progress, as will be Turf Paradise, Dover Downs, Northfield Park, Pompano, and at 7:10 this evening, Yonkers Raceway will get underway. If you missed any of Seth or my selections, simply go to capitalotb.com, click on the Handicappers Report, and you'll get all those selections in a beautifully laid out format. Also, after you get those selections, you want to race to the windows, capitalotbbet.com, ladies and gentlemen, our newest well, I guess yesterday celebrated its 1-month birthday, right. Perhaps. A state-of-the-art new wagering platform for you. Might take a moment or two to set up your new account, etc. But after that, it should be smooth sailing, and we've been talking about it for a little while. If you do come up any bumps in the road, please, please, please email us, viewermail at capitalotb.com, and we'll be happy to take a look at it and get you an answer. If that's not fast enough, please call 1-800-292-BETS, 1-800-292-2387 for customer service at Capital OTB. And Seth, Racing Across America kicks off another week. What do you have?
Mike Penna today. Mike Penna hasn't been with us for the past couple of weeks, so
Has he been
AWOL?
AWOL?
Been AWOL a little bit, but we have him on today again to Monday morning recap of some stakes action. And Jenny Reese from the Louisville Courier-Journal will take a look at weekend stakes action from Churchill Downs, but also they wrapped up their meet, so we'll do a little meet recap.
You know, it amazes me, and Andy Sterling, I think, made a great point on Saturday. The stakes races at Churchill Downs, I think they ran for $1.25, maybe 150, I forget. The ones in New York ran for 400,000. They didn't have any trouble filling races on the Stars of Tomorrow card down at Churchill Downs. The whole Kentucky thing, Seth, whether it's the Poly track at Keeneland or Churchill Downs, boy, I'll tell you, field size doesn't seem to be a problem. And the funny thing is, the Kentucky racing hasn't been augmented by the slots. Now, Keeneland's usually strong because of the sales, but Churchill Downs, I've been wondering, what happens if they ever get their financial house in order in the state and they start augmenting the purses? I'm just amazed. That card on Saturday now, I took the bagel, but it was one of those comfortable bagels. Luckily, Flat Out saved us in New York in the cigar mile. But here's a quick trivia question for you. Who won the slowest cigar mile? Because they're usually racehorse time.
I would not even have
cigar. And here's another one. By far the slowest. I mean, it's not even like, usually the race goes at 133 and change, maybe 134. I think he's the only guy to run 136, rather pedestrian. Just goes to show you have to adjust for racing surfaces. But in amongst all my work, little copy thing, and I hit sort, and I arranged him, and I could tell he was the slowest. I was looking for something else because he was the only one, 136. But a great weekend of racing, great, hear what Jenny's pitches on Saturday, because I have to tell you something. The Saturday card, as I said, I took the bagel. We did move and groove with some second horses, but I have to, it's a good idea. And boy, and it helps with field size. I'm not saying anybody else could do it. Why Kentucky can run. Now think about this. Kentucky Churchill Downs ran 12 races out the string. And they ran 12 races on Saturday with juveniles. And I would say the average field size off the top of my head, Seth, was like 11. You know, I mean, that's pretty darn good.
There are some that came out of there that are going to be worth watching, not just the stakes, particularly the finale. I thought the Winchell Asmussen first-time starter that broke the maiden, Goldhawk, I think was the name, a son of Caressing. Could be interesting to watch going forward.
Yes, and we don't usually talk that term, Caressing being the mare that I think is one of the all-time bad champions, juvenile filly champions of 2000. But ladies and gentlemen, enjoy your Monday afternoon, this Cyber Monday. In just a moment, racing across America.
You're watching OTB TV, a service of Capital Off Track Betting.